I'm gonna be reading Pride and Prejudice chapter 20. Let's start now. Yeah. Mr. Collins was not left long to the silent con- con- compilation of his successful love for Miss Bennet, having. Sorry, let me look up this word. Dawdled. Having dawdled about in the vestibule. Oh, goodness. Vestibule. Is it bowl? No way.
Vestibule.
Oh, vestibule. To watch for the end of the conference. No sooner saw Elizabeth open the door and with quick step past her towards the staircase than she entered the breakfast room and congratulated both him and herself in warm terms on the happy prospect of their nearer connection. Mr. Collins received and returned those felicitations with equal pleasure and then proceeded to relate the particulars of their interview, which the result of which he trusted he had every reason to be satisfied since the refusal which his cousin had
steadfast,
steadfastly given him would naturally flow from her bashful modesty and the genuine delicacy of her character. This information, however, startled Mrs. Bennet. She would have been glad to be equally satisfied that her daughter had meant to encourage him by protesting against his proposals, but she dared not to believe it and could not help saying so. But depend upon it, Mr. Collins, she added, that Lizzie shall be brought to reason. I'll speak to her about it myself directly. She is very headstrong, foolish girl, and does not know her own interest, and I'll make her know it. Pardon me for interrupting you, madam, cried Mr. Collins, but if she is really headstrong and foolish, I know not whether she would altogether be a very desirable wife to a man in my situation who naturally looks for happiness in the married state. If therefore she actually persists in rejecting my suit, perhaps it would be better not to force her into accepting me, because if liable to such defects of temper, she could not contribute much to my felicity. Sir, you quite misunderstand me, said Mrs. Bennet, alarmed. Elizabeth is only headstrong in such matters as these. In everything else, she is as good-natured a girl as ever lived. I'll go directly to Mr. Bennet, and we shall very soon settle it with her, and I am sure she would not give him time to reply, but hurrying instead into her husband, called out as she entered the library. Oh, Mr. Bennet, you are wanted immediately. We are all in the uproar. You must come and make make Lizzie marry Mr. Collins. For she vows she will not have him, and if you do not make haste, he will change his mind and not have her. Mr. Bennet raised his eyes from his book as she entered, and fixed them on her face with a calm unconcern which was not in the least altered by her communication. "I have the pleasure of understanding you," said he. When she had finished her speech, "Of course, what are you talking?" "Of Mr. Collins and Lizzie. Lizzie declares she will not have Mr. Collins, and Mr. Collins begins to say that he will not have Lizzie. And what am I to do on the occasion? It seems an hopeless business. Speak to Lizzie about it yourself. Tell her that you insist upon her marrying him. Let her be called down. She shall hear my opinion." Mrs. Bennet rang the bell, and Elizabeth was summoned to the library. "Come here, child," cried her father as she appeared. "I have sent for you on an affair of importance. I understand Mr. Collins has made you an offer of marriage. Is it true?" Elizabeth replied, "It was very well. And this offer of marriage you have refused." "I have, sir." "Very well. We now come to the point. Your mother insists upon your accepting it. Is it not it so, Mrs. Bennet?" "Yes, or I will never see her again. An unhappy alternative is before you, Elizabeth. From this day, you must be a stranger to one of your parents. Your mother will never see you again if you do not marry Mr. Collins." "Oh, what?" "And I'll never see you again if you do." Elizabeth could not but smile at such a conclusion of such a beginning, but Mrs. Bennet, who had persuaded herself that her husband regarded the affair as she wished, was exceedingly disappointed. "What do you mean, Mr. Bennet, by talking in this way? You promised to insist upon marrying her." "My dear," replied her husband, "I have two favors to request. First, that you will allow me the free use of my understanding of the present occasion, and secondly, of my room. I shall be glad to have the library to myself as soon as may be." Not yet, however, in spite of her disappointment in her husband, did Miss Bennet give up the point. She talked to Elizabeth again and again, coaxed and threatened her by turns. She endeavored to secure Jane in her interest, but Jane, with all possible mildness, declined interfering. And Elizabeth, sometimes with real earnestness and sometimes with playful gaiety, replied to her attacks. Though her manner varied, however, her determination never did. Mr. Collins, meanwhile, was meditating in solitude on what had passed. He thought too well of himself to comprehend on what motive his cousin could refuse him, and though his pride was hurt, he suffered in no other way. His regard for her was quite imaginary, and the possibility of her deserving her mother's reapproach prevented his feelings any regret. While the family were in this conclusion, Charlotte Locust came to spend the day with them, and she was met in the vestibule by Lydia, who flew to her crying a half whisper, "I am glad you come, for there is such fun here. What do you think has happened this morning? Mr. Collins has made an offer to Lizzie, and she would not have him. Charlotte had hardly time to answer, therefore they were joined by Kitty, who came to tell the same news, and no sooner had they entered the breakfast room. When Mrs. Bennet was alone, then she likewise began on the subject, calling on Mrs. Lockwood for her compassion, and entreating her to persuade her friend Lizzie to comply with the wishes of all her family. Pardon, my dear Miss Lucas, she added in me. Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Melancholy.
Added in a melancholy tone, for nobody is on my side, nobody takes a part with me, I am crudely used, nobody feels for my poor nerve. Charlotte's reply was spared by the entrance of Jane and Elizabeth. Aye, there she comes, continued Miss Bennet, looking as unconcerned as may be, and caring no one for us that we were at York, provided she can have her own way. But I tell you what, Miss Lizzie, if you take it into your head to go on refusing every offer of marriage in this way, you will never get a husband at all. And I'm sure I do not know who is to maintain you when your father is dead. Wow. I shall not be able to keep you, and so I warn you, I have done with you from very day. I told you in the library, you know, that I should never speak to you again, and you will not, and you will find me as good as my word. I have no pleasure in talking to undutiful children. Not that I have much pleasure indeed in talking to anybody. People who suffer as I do from nervous complaints can have no great inclination for talking. No one can tell what I suffer, but it is always so. Those who do not complain are never pitied. Her daughters listened in silence to this effusion, sensible that any attempt to reason with or soothe her would only increase the irritation. She talked on, therefore, without interaction from any of them till they were joined by Mr. Collins, who entered with an air more stately than usual, and on perceiving whom, she said to the girl, "Now I do assist upon it that you of all you hold your tongues and let Mr. Collins and me have a little conversation together." Elizabeth passed quietly out of the room. Jane and Kitty followed, and Lydia stood her ground, determined to hear all she could. And Charlotte, detained first by the civility of Mr. Collins, whose inquiries after herself and all her family were very minute, and then by a little curiosity satisfied herself with walking to the window and pretending not to hear. In a doleful, is it doleful? Doleful! In a doleful voice, Mrs. Bennet asked, oh my goodness. Thus, Mrs. Bennet began the projected conversation. "Oh, Mr. Collins, my dear madam," replied he, "let us be forever silent on this point. Far be it from me," he presently continued in a voice that marked his displeasure, "to resent the behavior of your daughter. Resignation. Oh my goodness, am I pronouncing this word well?
Resignation.
Resignation to inevitable evils is the duty of all, and the duty of us all. Sorry, the the particular particular peculiar peculiar duty of a young man who has been so fortunate as I have been in early preferment, and I trust I am resigned, perhaps not the least of so, from feeling a doubt of any positive happiness, had my fair cousin honored me with her hands, for I have often observed the resignation, resignation, resignation,
Resignation.
Resignation is never so perfect when the blessing denied begins to lose somewhat of its value in our estimation. You would not, I hope, consider me a schoolian. Is it schoolian? Showing in showing any disrespect to your family, my dear madam, by thus withdrawing any pretension to your daughter's favor without having paid yourself and Mr. Bennet the compliment of requesting you to interpose your authority in any behalf. My conduct may, I fear, be objectionable in having accepted my dismission from your daughter's lips instead of your own. But we are all liable to error. I have certainly meant well through the whole affair. My object has been to secure an amiable companion for myself, with due consideration for the advantage of all your family. And if my manner has been at all reprehensible, I here beg leave to apologize. Aww. Mr. Collins. Guys, I'm coming. I'm trying to see something. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Collins. Lizzie has a really strong self-respect. I really love her, and that's what I can say about her. She's not gonna marry. Oh my goodness! I can't wait to hear from Mr. Darcy. I love Mr. Darcy's part, but yeah, I really love Mr. Darcy because I feel like I need to. Because I love reading Mr. Darcy's part. Yeah, and I really love this. Yeah, I really love this. I really love this book a lot. It's really engaging, very very engaging. This book is very engaging, and that's why I chose to read this first. Yeah, because I find it very nice, and you know like a book is nice when the movie is like the best, right? And this book, the movie, I've watched it multiple times. It's the best movie ever. And that's why I decided to read it. It's very engaging. It's like very good. I really like Evie. Like it's I don't know how to describe it well, but this book is good. Yeah. And I'm gonna read the next chapter. Or should I read it? I think, oh my goodness, I'm almost there to like this. I'm about to read this and then I'll go to volume 2. I'll get to volume two when I finish reading this. I'll get to volume two. Well, wow. I respect Elizabeth a lot. I do like her. Man, Elizabeth could never live in but now in today's society. Oh my goodness, she would, like. I feel like there's so many Elizabeth. I think I want to be like Elizabeth. Yeah, she's so funny. Imagine being funny, intelligent, like strong. Like she's not afraid to speak her mind, right? Right? She's so funny. I want to be like her. I want to be like Elizabeth. Yeah, I think I want to be like Elizabeth. She thinks for herself. That's who, like, very intelligent. Even though, like, I didn't like how she was treating Darcy. Mr. Darcy, humans be flawed. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm sorry. I've already watched the movie, so I know what's going on. But the book, I really like the book, too. Like, even though she's flawed, she's very, 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 very funny. She thinks for herself. She has like strong self-respect. She has self-respect. She's not gonna pick any dude that comes. Like that's something I wanna learn. Just cause a dude, the dude, no, she doesn't just pick any dude. And that's something I'm learning from her. Yeah, she doesn't pick any man. She picks what, I know. Yeah. She wants a man who loves and respects her. She thinks for herself. She doesn't like. I love the fact that she thinks for herself. It's something that I'm also trying to practice myself, right? To be able to think for myself and like humor too is good. I think I always like, even though I'm funny, I always try to express. Even though I think sometimes I'm not funny, right? I try to express my humor, right? Even if some people don't get it. It's humor. Humor is subjective, right? Some people will not find you funny. Some people will find you funny. But as long as you're doing it because you find it, whatever, just like be yourself, be authentic. I really loved her. I really love her. Elizabeth, I do. She might be very flawed. Hey, I'm not saying that she hasn't done something like misjudge people and stuff, right? I still like her because she's very intelligent. She sings for herself. And she's funny! I think we all need to, be funny with humor. Yeah, she's funny. I love her. Yeah. And I'm proud of myself for reading this. I'm gonna read the next chapter tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm proud of myself. Yeah, very proud. Bye-bye!